Have you ever wondered how a simple touch could change everything? How a single moment of connection could make someone fall in love without a single word spoken? Touch. It's something we all experience every day. But what if I told you that it's more than just physical? What if this unspoken gesture, this silent connection, could speak directly to the soul? In this video, we're diving into the powerful, unseen force that makes a touch more meaningful than words ever could. Today, you'll discover how a simple touch has the power to create deep emotional bonds, spark intense feelings, and even make someone fall in love. We'll explore how touch triggers a chemical reaction in the brain and how it works on a level that words can never reach. I'll also reveal why certain touches can leave a lasting impression, ones that words could never explain. But here's the catch. This isn't just about physical attraction. There's an emotional science behind it. You'll learn why vulnerability, presence, and authenticity make a touch irresistible. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why sometimes saying nothing is the most powerful thing you can do. Welcome to NeuroVista, where we uncover the hidden forces that shape our relationships, emotions, and minds. If you're ready to dive deep into the psychology of connection and unlock the unspoken power of touch, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what's coming next. There's something primal about touch, something ancient that words can never replace. It goes beyond physical contact. It's an unspoken language, one that has existed long before we learned how to speak. When she rested her hand on his arm, it wasn't a grand gesture, but in that small moment, something shifted. His body responded before his mind could even process what was happening. And that's the thing. Real connection doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it arrives in complete silence. Science tells us that when we touch someone with warmth and intention, our bodies release a chemical called oxytocin. It's often called the love hormone. It creates an instant sense of trust, bonding, and emotional safety. In that one simple touch, his defenses softened, his heart slowed, and for the first time in a long time, he felt seen. It wasn't about seduction. It wasn't about control. It was about presence, about being with someone who made him feel like he didn't have to say a word to be understood. Touch has a way of reminding us that we're human, that we crave closeness, not just physically, but emotionally. The Stoics believed true connection wasn't built on conversation or promises, but on shared stillness, on being fully present with someone without needing to explain yourself. And in that moment, sitting next to her, he felt that presence. She didn't fill the silence with noise. She didn't rush to impress. She just reached out, quietly, gently, and something inside him melted. It wasn't just about her fingers brushing against his skin. It was the energy behind it, the calm, the unspoken understanding. That single touch told him more than any words ever could. It said, "You're not alone." It said, "I see you." And maybe most of all, it said, "You're safe here." In a world that moves too fast and talks too much, her silence and her touch felt like home. He didn't fall in love because she said the right things. He fell because she didn't need to. The chemistry wasn't in her voice. It was in her presence, in that single quiet touch that made him feel everything without saying a word. But why did her touch have such a strong impact? Why did something so simple feel so powerful to him, so unforgettable? It wasn't about physical attraction. It wasn't about beauty or desire. What made it different was the emotional weight behind it. Her touch wasn't random. It was intentional, quiet, present. It reached him in a place no words ever had. And in that moment, something inside him felt understood. She didn't need to speak to show she cared. Her touch was a silent promise, a way of saying, "I'm with you. I'm here." Not in the loud, dramatic way that love is often portrayed, but in a still, grounded way that said more by saying nothing at all. It made him feel like he didn't need to perform, impress, or explain. He could just be, and that was enough. That kind of emotional intimacy is rare, and when you feel it, you don't forget it. He had been touched before, by others, in passing or in moments that didn't mean much, but this was different. This wasn't a touch that wanted anything. It didn't ask for his attention. It simply offered presence. And that, more than anything, was what he had been searching for. Someone who wouldn't just hear his words, but someone who could feel his silence. The Stoics believed that truth lives in the quiet moments, that what we feel deeply doesn't always need to be said aloud, and maybe that's what made her so unforgettable. She didn't try to explain love, she just lived it, through soft glances, gentle pauses, and that one touch that made time slow down. He felt drawn to her because, in a world full of noise, she brought peace, not through grand gestures, but through a connection that asked nothing, yet gave everything. Her energy didn't chase or beg to be noticed. It simply existed, and somehow that was enough to make him feel seen in a way he hadn't felt in years. It wasn't about the touch itself, it was what lived inside it. A quiet understanding, a steady presence, a feeling that whispered, "You don't have to be alone anymore." When she touched him, it was more than just a gesture. It wasn't about romance in the traditional sense. It wasn't flirtation or something planned. It was presence, real, unfiltered, and honest. That kind of touch doesn't ask for attention. It gives it. It was her way of saying, "I see you," without needing to speak. And in that moment, something inside him softened. Because when someone shows up with that kind of quiet truth, it disarms you, not by force, but by feeling. We often talk about chemistry, spark, or connection, but the real power lives in authenticity. When touch comes from a place of genuine emotion, not strategy, not performance, it carries a kind of magic. Psychology tells us that touch creates vulnerability, and vulnerability is magnetic. It opens a door, not just to the body, but to the heart. And that's what he felt, a door quietly opening inside him, one he didn't even know was still locked. She didn't touch him to win him over. She didn't do it to impress. There was no performance in her energy, just presence. Calm, real, steady. That kind of presence doesn't need to prove anything. It just exists. And he could feel that, in her stillness, in her patience, in the way she could be with him without trying to fix or change him. Isn't that what we all want, deep down? To be loved for who we truly are, without needing to prove ourselves? To be seen in the quiet corners of our soul, where most people never look? That's what he felt with her. Not the high of passion or the rush of desire, but the rare comfort of being fully accepted, of being safe. She made him feel like he didn't have to explain why he was the way he was. He didn't have to earn her presence. It was already there. That's the impact of authentic energy. It doesn't chase. It doesn't beg. It simply holds space. And in a world that often asks us to be more, do more, achieve more, her touch reminded him that just being was enough. Her touch wasn't just soft. It was brave. It held something deeper, an unspoken message that most people are too guarded to give. It was her way of saying, "I trust you with this moment." No explanations, no shields, just a quiet invitation into her heart. And in that silence, something rare happened. He didn't just feel attraction. He felt her courage, the kind of courage that comes from vulnerability, and that changed everything. Vulnerability is often mistaken for weakness, but in truth, it's the strongest thing we can offer. Because when you choose to be open, to let someone see the soft parts of you, you're not losing power, you're showing trust. Psychology tells us that vulnerability builds intimacy faster than anything else, not because it's loud, but because it's real. And that's what he felt in her touch. Not a performance, not a role, just her, unfiltered, unafraid to be present in her truth. She didn't need to tell him how she felt. She let her touch speak for her. And it said everything, that she was there, that she cared, that even though love is a risk, she was willing to take it. He could feel it, the slight hesitation before she reached out, the soft stillness in her fingers. It wasn't about control, it was about surrender. And surrender is the essence of vulnerability. There's a kind of quiet strength in those who stop pretending. Stoic wisdom teaches us that when we drop the ego, when we stop hiding behind our pride, we finally touch what is real. Her touch came from that place. It wasn't calculated, it was honest. And he felt safe in that honesty, safe enough to let his guard down too. In a world where everyone is trying to prove something, her softness was revolutionary. She showed him that love doesn't always arrive with grand gestures or perfect words. Sometimes it's found in the spaces in between, in the look, the pause, the breath, in the willingness to be seen. And when she touched him, she wasn't just reaching out, she was letting him in. That's the power of vulnerability. In a world filled with endless words, texts, calls, posts, and promises, what we often crave the most is something quieter, something real. It's strange, isn't it? That in the middle of all that noise, the moment that stays with us isn't a perfectly said sentence. It's a feeling, a presence, a touch. That's what happened with him. It wasn't her voice that pulled him in. It was her silence, the way she touched him, gently, slowly, as if she already knew what he was carrying. And she didn't try to fix him. She didn't ask him to explain. She just stayed close, and that was enough. There's a kind of magic in someone who doesn't rush to fill the silence. Her presence didn't demand attention. It offered peace. Her hand, resting softly on his, said more than 1,000 words ever could. He felt seen, not because she looked at him, but because she understood without needing anything explained. She gave him something rare, stillness in a world that never stops talking. That stillness, that soft connection, became his favorite language. He started to realize something he'd never fully understood before, that love doesn't always need to be spoken to be felt. The warmth of her touch said, "I see you." The way she stayed, even in silence, whispered, "I'm not going anywhere." And that hit deeper than any confession ever could. Because words can lie, but energy doesn't. You can't fake presence. You can't fake the feeling of safety that someone gives you just by being near. And maybe that's why he fell. Not because she told him how she felt, but because she made him feel something no one else had. Comfort, calm, home, all through a touch that didn't ask for anything in return. She didn't try to impress him. She just let herself be real with him. And in that quiet truth, he found something priceless. Her silence wasn't empty. It was full of meaning, emotion, and care. And in that moment, he learned the truth. It's not always about what we say. It's about what we show. And she showed him everything, without ever needing to say a word. Sometimes, the most powerful forms of love aren't loud. They're not found in grand gestures or beautifully crafted words. They exist in the quiet, in the moments when nothing is said, but everything is felt. Like when she reached for his hand, not to hold it, but to show him, "I see you, I feel you, I'm here." That one touch wasn't just physical, it was emotional. It was an unspoken promise, a connection that didn't need words to be understood. And maybe that's what made him fall. Not because she told him how she felt, but because she made him feel something he couldn't ignore. In the end, real love isn't built through speeches. It's built through presence, through how we make someone feel when we sit with them in silence, when we touch them gently, not to impress, but to connect. So the next time you find yourself in someone's presence, pause. Notice the quiet. Notice the way their energy shifts when you're near. That small touch, that silent glance. It might be the moment everything changes, without a single word. If this video made you feel something, like, comment and share your thoughts. And if you believe in the quiet power of connection, make sure to subscribe to NeuroVista for more stories that move the heart and awaken the mind. Thank you for watching. Your presence here means more than you know.